Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanessa. If you guys are new here, welcome. Today is a really cool video because I just feel like someone needs to hear this, and it's basically just going to be take back what the enemy stole from you. And I'm going to tell you guys a little story about my life, what happened with me one time when I really felt like I was just at my wit's end, and I just felt like I was in a depressive state and I didn't know how to get out of it. And I was just honestly in a position where I totally felt like everything was just taken from me, and I felt helpless, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn. And I really just want you to listen to this, and if you are listening to this, just know that this video is for you. You didn't click on it by accident, and you are going to take back what the enemy stole from you today. And you're going to do it right after this video, so just stay tuned for it. I hope you guys enjoy. Get out a notepad or something, take notes if you need to, and just like get motivated, because that's what this is about. You know, I feel like that's what I want my channel to be about. I don't want it to be a place where you feel judged and you're not judged. I just want it to be a place where you can come and leave feeling a better person, feeling like you can conquer any goal that you ever dreamed of. Anything that you put your mind to, you can do it. Like, you could do it. You're the only person stopping you. And you don't have to listen to what other people say. You listen to God, you listen to you, and use your discernment, use your gut. And yeah, you take people's opinion and account into consideration, people you look up to, mentors, but at the end of the day, only you know you, and God knows you. So just stay tuned to this video to the end, and I'm just going to start telling you guys a little bit about what happened with me. So when I was 15 or so, I ended up tearing my ACL playing soccer, and I played soccer my whole entire life. I wanted to play Division I ever since I could like walk, I feel like, ever since I touched the soccer ball. Actually, the other day I was watching home videos with my parents, and it was so funny because there was just videos of me playing with the soccer ball at literally like 8 months when I was walking. And it's just crazy because, you know, a lot of the times when you do play sports, or if you are an athlete, and not all the time but a majority of the time, you've kind of grew up with that love for the sport. And so that's exactly what happened with me. So my family's 100% Italian. Almost all my cousins have played soccer. They've even played some professionally, and my family's just really big into soccer, so it was just like in the blood. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to play D1. I wanted to go full scholarship, so that was my goal at a young age. My parents sacrificed a lot for me because they didn't always have the funds, but they still somehow decided to just put into our future, and sacrificed, you know, their hard work, their hard time, and they put us in soccer, which was super expensive. And I was on travel teams. My sister and I were constantly traveling away on teams, and I think a lot of people who played sports could relate to this. I know a lot of guys I would talk to kind of was in the same exact position, but maybe with lacrosse or, you know, just any other sport, football. You guys know what it's like to go to camps, to do sleepover things, play sports every single day at your high school, and it's just that grind. Like, you just like learn how to grind, and I think that taught me how to put in work at a young age, so, and to set goals. So when I was young, I had a goal in mind that I wasn't just playing soccer for fun, but when I was going out there on the field, I was trying to get scouted. So that almost put a lot of pressure on me, but at the same time, it was a goal, so I was okay with it. I wanted it. And so yeah, I was 15 playing on a Premier League. I remember playing on a travel team. I remember I was playing with a lot of my friends at the time. I grew up playing with the same people. It was so fun, but I started to kind of find my groove in soccer. I started to kind of become who I was as a soccer player, finding out what my skills, my assets were to the team. Was I a leader? Was I a scorer? Was I a playmaker? What position was I in? Was I fast? So I started to figure all that out about myself, and yeah, I just definitely had a natural gift and ability to play the sport. So, you know, I wasn't being set up for failure. I don't think my parents would have pursued in me if they didn't see it in me at a young age. So I had definitely the skill set to play on a team, but I still always had to try out and make the team. You know, nothing comes without hard work. So I remember I'd wake up, I'd train, I would go after school. I never really had time after school to just go home and chill out like a lot of my other friends. I remember actually a lot of the times being so exhausted that I would wish that I could just like go home after school and go take a nap and do my homework. Not to mention I was kind of struggling in school a little bit, but I still was like, nope, this is what I want. So I remember it was at this point where I was playing with my team that I had played for a long time, played with the same coach for a couple of years. I really loved him, and I remember just like my dad coming up to me and saying, if you want to kind of really start to look and be serious about this and you want to go to college for this, I think it's time that we move leagues and we try to see if you can get onto a better team with more exposure and more scouts, more coaches, better trainings, better girls around you, D1 athletes, like playing with the best, so you can really start to become an even better player, because that's how you grow. And so I was really apprehensive because I kind of was nervous to do that. I didn't want to leave my friend group. I didn't want to just leave my comfort zone. I loved where I was. But the fact of the matter is, even if I loved where I was, I knew that it wasn't allowing me to have the opportunity that I wanted, the goal that I had in mind, to play Division I. So I made the decision after a lot of tears, because I was like leaving all my friends. I think I was like 14. I made an early decision to leave that league and go try out for this team, which was called FSA ECNL. So that is a travel team up in Farmington, Connecticut, and I was from Massachusetts. So I remember thinking, this is going to change so much, because I used to drive 20 minutes to practice, and now I'm gonna have to drive 45 to an hour and a half to go practice every single day, or every other day, and every weekend. So I remember thinking that was kind of a, you know, a tough one for me. I was already doing so much with school and friends, and I wanted to have a social life and this and that, but I just remember being like, nope, I have to sacrifice this because it's what I want for my future. So I kind of had that mindset at a really young age, and I think it just comes from, you know, I think I wasn't raised in a family that had everything. We didn't have a ton of money, so I wasn't necessarily thinking that my life's all set. I still learned that I had to like work hard for stuff, and I just remember thinking, like, if I don't do this, like, no one's gonna make me do it, so I have to take accountability and responsibility upon myself. And so that's sort of what I did. And so with the help of my dad, who pushed me, and my mom, but they weren't super big on pushing, which I appreciate, because I just felt like it also gave me the ability to actually love the sport, because I wouldn't want to do something that I hated. But they definitely helped guide me, and my dad helped me a lot make those decisions of, like, he was always researching which teams, and he knew so much more than I knew at that age, because I was just so young and my brain was still growing. I was only 14. So oops, Teddy just got scared. But anyway, so from that, I remember I ended up deciding to go try out for this team, and I remember being so nervous, and all I remember is just like, I always felt like I was in positions where I was like so uncomfortable. I remember I would like genuinely have like, not anxiety attacks, but I would get so nervous like before going to these things, because I was like, I don't know anyone. I don't know the coach. I don't know who's gonna be there. I'm so intimidated. These girls are so good. What if they don't like me? All these things that like a 14-year-old would maybe think. And I remember just saying, it's all right, just, you know, do your best. I almost felt like I had to prove myself in a way, but it wasn't necessarily proving myself. I think it was just like, I want to do the best that I can. So that's what I tried to do. And I remember when you went, there was 2 teams you can make. You could make the MPL team or the ECNL team, and the MPL team was just almost like A and B team. So the MPL team was sort of like a B team where you were still surrounded by great players, but they just thought if you didn't have the ability to make ECNL, to play with like the girls who were really good. And typically when you make the ECNL team, you're kind of bound to go D1, not always, but it's basically saying you have the ability for college to see you, and you have that skill set, and we believe in you, that you're going to add value to our team. And I mean, yeah, you have to just like be good, and you have to just, you know, show the coach what you can do. And if they like what you see, and if they think that you're able, they'll put you on the team to help them win and make them look good, and also just help you as well. If they see it in you, they'll bring you. It's very like cutthroat. Like they are not there to make you happy or hurt your feelings. It's just like, it is what it is. If you're good, you're good. If you're not, it's okay, you're not. So I ended up trying out, and I did make the ECNL team. And I just remember going into it being like, I can do this. Like I know my capabilities. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to show them the best that I can. I'm just going to try to have the best 3 days of a tryout that I can, so that I can show them my capabilities. And I just like put that to my mind, and I just did the best I could. And I think that helped me, because I didn't leave feeling like I could have gave more. I left on the field just what I could do, and I ended up making it. So I ended up playing for this team. The girls were so nice. I still talk to some of them today, and it was so amazing. You know, it's like that uncomfortable step is so scary, but when you get there, you actually, obviously things start to turn around, and you're like, okay, this is so fun. You start to meet the coaches, and you're surrounded by girls who are so good. I just remember being like, wow, like the competition was so crazy, because it was just so fast. Like the girls were so fast, the ball moved so fast. These girls had like crazy skill sets. Like their technique skills, their technical skills were like out of this world. I just remember being like, who's gonna go, like who's gonna get signed and scouted first? Like, you know, everyone's so good. And yeah, so that process started early for me. I remember I started like reaching out to schools at a younger age, emailing them, telling them to come to my trainings and practices. And you know, every single time we had a game, it was like, who's here for who, like who's watching. And you know, we'd have like Ivy League schools watching for some girls, and then we'd have like, you know, the big schools, BC, we'd see all these different schools, like I don't know, Mass Lowell. We had all different types of, all these different schools watching us. So you know, I just feel like it put that dependence on me to show what I could do every time I was playing. And you know, as I think back, I feel like I was so young, like I was 14, but that's when it starts, you know, it's at that age for them, at least, for soccer at least, that's when it starts. And so it was my sophomore year, I'll never forget. I had just started playing with the team. It was like a whole year that I had played with them, and it was, I don't remember exactly the timeline, but I just remember it was maybe that spring of the beginning of it was like the beginning of the spring, my first year or something. So I was playing with this one coach who I really actually enjoyed, and he was really good. It's nice when you have a coach that you do enjoy playing for, because I've been with coaches who I don't necessarily love to play for, and it just makes it that much harder. But for the majority, I've always had a pretty close bond with any coach that I've played for. That plays a big role in it, because you see these people every single day. So long story short, I ended up going my spring, it was like the second game of the spring, home game, and I was playing, and I just remember it was like the first half, and I think I was 15 at this age, so because I said it was like a whole year. And I remember it was, the ball was like coming across, and it was just like the first half. And I remember, I don't exactly remember the play, but I do remember like the ball was coming across, and I went to side volley the ball in, because I played forward, and I scored the goal. So I scored the goal, and the ball went in, but the keeper took my leg out. So like I went to like side volley it, so when you're side volleying it, like your leg is up, and then all of a sudden the keeper, instead of like taking out the ball, like because my leg was up, she just kind of like collided with my knee, and I just heard like a huge pop, and it was just like a, and I was like, instantly went down. I was like bawling my eyes out. I just remember it hurt like so bad. I've never experienced pain like that, and I just like grabbed my knee, and I just was like crying, because I didn't understand why my knee hurt so bad. And it kind of went into this position, like it shot up, and it was sort of locked, and I kind of just like couldn't straighten it, and it felt like a balloon, and I just felt all this tension. So it was really hard, because I was like, this sucks, what just happened? And I wasn't prone to really getting hurt before then. I really never ever got hurt. That was my first huge injury. So long story short, I get off the field, I can't really put pressure on it, can't really walk, and I'm getting carried off. I'm just like continuing to cry because it hurt so bad, and I kind of settled down a little. I thought I could go back in. I was like, no, I'm good, like I can go back in. I want to like continue to play. And the lady was like, you cannot go back in, like your knee's so swollen. And she's like, I need to check if you tore your ACL, like let me do like the check on it. And the trainer was checking it, and she was like, I don't think you tore it. It seems pretty stable still. She's like, I think you may just have like some really bad bone bruising because the keeper hit your knee really hard, and I think maybe you just have to go get it checked out, let the swelling go down, blah blah blah. So, you know, the game ends and I'm with my dad and we're driving home, and it just feels super uncomfortable. I can't really straighten it, can't really bend it. And I kind of at that point was like, you know, maybe I tore my ACL. So I never really thought that I could be someone where that happened to, and I didn't know much about it. But instantly I just started looking up on YouTube ACL tears, girls who went through ACL tears, or what did it feel like, you know, just trying to research everything about it. And in my head I was sort of convincing myself that it was torn, but there was this like 10% hope that I didn't tear it. And I just couldn't even fathom the idea of making this team and then a year later having to be injured for a whole year, because I just knew in the back of my head it was gonna set me back so much. And I was like, how will I get scouted if I can't play? And that was like the first thing on my mind. So I was just saying, you know, maybe it's not torn, maybe it's like strained and it's only like a 2-month thing. And I wasn't even so much concerned about like what the issue was. I just was like trying to figure out the timeline of how long I won't be able to play. So I was like, I don't care if it's torn, but can I play in like 2 months? And clearly not. When you tear your ACL, it's like literally a whole year to a year and a half of recovery. So long story short, we end up like booking an MRI, and I'm at school and my dad calls me in class. I'm like, really? In class? He's like, can I call you? I have the results. And I was like, I guess. Or he texted it to me and he was like, I'm sorry, like your ACL is torn. And I just was like crying. I always cried. And I was so sad. I was just like, what the heck, like this sucks. So that is my story about that. So, you know, that happened. So after I tore my ACL, you know, I got surgery and stuff, a lot of things changed, because from that I wasn't like in the same position that I was before, and it really made me nervous. I was like, I had a lot of fear during this time, because when I tore my ACL, I really just thought so much was going to change about my body. I thought I wasn't going to be the same player again. I couldn't even really fathom the idea of like getting surgery on my knee and then going back into the game and playing. The only thing I was thinking is like, what if this happens again? Am I going to be as fast? Is it going to affect my skill set? Like, I was super technical, so I was nervous that it was going to affect my technicality and all this stuff. But the most important thing that I was obviously so nervous about was not getting scouted. So I was like, where am I going to go to school? I don't even want to go to school for anything else other than soccer. I only want to play D1. And I kind of just felt like a failure, because I put all this pressure on myself to go D1, and clearly God had other plans. So my ACL was torn, got surgery, but the whole point in telling you this story is because there's a point to it. I promise. I want to tell you that sometimes things in life don't go the way that you think, but they're meant to go that way so that you can go through adversity and come out on the other side. So from my ACL surgery, I remember I was like, there was a point in time where I said, you know what, I'm not gonna let this set me back. It did end up putting me on a big delay because I was a whole year behind. I had to kind of catch up, but I remember being like, you know what, like I'm still gonna go to the gym. After this is set, I'm gonna put 120% in physical therapy. Like, I'm gonna do every little foot movement that I have to do to be able to, you know, exceed. Because when I was doing those little things, those things were not just little. Like, you know, moving your foot so you have circulation when you need to helps you bench 200 pounds in 6 months. So that's what I was kind of looking at when I was doing that, you know? And I just remember, you know, that kind of lifted a weight off of me, because I was like still kind of anticipating getting scouted in a sense. But at that point I wasn't even so much just thinking about that scouting. I was just trying to get back to my speed, my agility, my skill set, and just get back on the team and playing. So I did, and that's what I did. So a whole year went by. I put in the work, like I really did. I tried to do the most that I can. When in that position, I think there was like 2 things I could have done. Like, I either could have been depressed and sat on my bed like a couch potato, and that's often how I felt. Like, I really did feel like I wanted to do that. But even throughout my process of like surgery and stuff, I remember in high school, I would like go to things with the brace. I remember I'd like go to parties even. I don't even know how I did that, but like my friends still included me. I would still somehow try to fit in the car and like make it work, even though half of me wanted to stay in and like kind of just like isolate myself because I had this injury. But I still tried to get into social events because as much as an ACL surgery is all physical, it's a lot mental. Like 90% of it is mental. And even when you go back to play, it's like that fear that you can have when you play, go back. And I'm here to tell you that if you're going through anything in life, it doesn't have to be a literal physical injury. It could be any setback, anything that you've gone through. You can use that for leverage in the rest of your life. You don't have to sit in that position where you feel so defeated and you feel like you can't get out of bed anymore. Like, that is the moment that I did feel that way. There were days I didn't want to go to school. I remember I cried days and days. I was like, I can't do this anymore. This brace is a pain, blah, blah, blah. You have every reason to play a victim in your life, but if you just say, I don't care what is against me, like, I'm going to continue to rise above this. I don't care what people say. I don't care what my past looks like. I don't care that I could have done different and done better. Or, you know, so many times I just kept saying, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me? But you can't sit there and say, why did this happen to me, when you don't know why it did. And it doesn't matter. It's the past. It had already happened. It happened, and it happened for a reason. Whatever you want to think, it happened for a reason. I don't know why it happened, but it can teach you something, and you can rise above it. Any situation. I don't care if you were addicted to drugs, addicted to sex, addicted to shopping, whatever. I don't care if you had addictions or you were someone who is just purely struggling with your mentality, if you have depression, anxiety. Yes, I know those are severe actual mental disorders, so I don't mean to put that on you if you have that, but I'm saying, like, if you know yourself and you know that you're a happy-go-lucky person and you're having like depressive episodes or you just don't feel like it anymore, you got to make that decision that you want to change. Like, if you see that you want to lose 10 pounds, you can't just go on Amazon and buy a diet pill. That short way never works. You have to actually put in the work. You have to put a goal behind what it is that you want, because that's going to sustain you. And I remember what happened was, I remember I had a goal. Like, I was like, I'm gonna try to come back in a year's time, so I'm gonna put that work in. And when I made that goal, I was like, that's what's gonna make me get up every day. Because if I just looked at it like, I'm just gonna get up today, nothing was behind me to back me up. There were days I wanted to not get up because my leg hurt or my leg was swollen, or I didn't want to do the exercises because they hurt. And it's like, pick your heart. Do you want to suffer now just a little bit, suffer through the pain, or do you want to suffer later when you're crying because you knew that you could have put more effort in and you can't get into a school? So I had to make that decision, and I was young, and it taught me a lot at that age. So if you're 20 years old, my age, or even however old you are, you have time on your side to make up these decisions for life. And honestly, that ACL tear set up my whole entire life. I thought it was a setback, but it actually taught me how to continue to live that way for the rest of my life in anything that I've ever done. From that ACL tear, I started working out, getting my diet right, drinking more water, like eating things that were good for my body. I started like finding interest in nutrition, building muscle, trying to figure out ways of how to like be an athlete and do schoolwork. I was doing all of this, and it would have never happened to me if I didn't tear my ACL. It just goes to show that your pain and your setback can be turned into purpose if you decide that that's what it's gonna do to you. If you're living a life right now and you're so unsatisfied and you have so much unhappiness, or you have regrets, or you don't know what to do, the first thing you have to do is just sit down and make a decision that it can get better and it can only go up from here. Because I remember thinking when my ACL was torn, I was like, all right, well, I can either go into a depressive episode and be poor me and not put the work in, or I can just rise above it, put the work in, and set a goal. And to be honest, I came back and I played like I've never torn my ACL ever in my life. And I promise you, I think it was because of my mindset. I don't even think, I know it was because of my mindset. I remember being like, I'm not wearing a brace. I was like, it's all mental. I don't know, maybe for you it works to wear a brace, but I remember I put that brace on and I was like, hell no, like I can't wear this. And I took it off, and from that day on, no one had ever known that I tore my ACL. And I swear, it completely changed the way that I played. I remember the first year back was a little different. It was hard at first because I didn't feel like I could basically play the same. but it took practice. I remember I just like practiced more. I just kept going. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do my best, and then it came back. And I was still fine. Like I played, like no one ever knew I tore my ACL. And then I played in college. So I didn't end up going D1, but I went D3 and I had a huge impact there. And for 4 years, no, 5 years or 6 years? 2, 3, 4, 5.5 years, I played without tearing my ACL. And then my senior year, I tore my other one. So that was a whole other story. But that's just to say, I tore my ACL once and then I tore my ACL twice. I tore it again my sophomore year of college. I was devastated. I couldn't even fathom that I had done it. It was crazy. I was like, what? That was only 2 years ago. And now, ever since then, I'm like, nope. Like, I'm putting in the work. I don't care. The idea that like the gym and like working out could be ripped from me wasn't even like a negotiable thing. It wasn't even like rational in my head. I was just like at my strongest point that I've ever been. I'd put so much work into being an athlete, and my cardio was so great, and I remember my benching was so good. And I just remember I was like in such a good place, and then I tore my ACL and I just was like, what is happening? But you know what? I just squatted almost 240 the other day and I tore my ACL twice. So if that goes to show you that you guys can rise above adversity, I'm here to tell you that you can, because it's all about your mindset. It's what you put your mind to. And that goes for anything in life. It's not just ACL. I know you may not have gone through an injury. Maybe you're not even an athlete at all. Maybe you've never touched a sport in your life. It goes to show with anything, if you have goals, pick what you're good at. Find something you're good at and work at it. Be consistent with it. Do it every day. Close the noise out. Shut the noise out from other people, because they just instill fear into you. When someone puts their belief onto you that they don't think you can do it, it's because they can't do it. They can't even imagine themselves doing it. They can't imagine themselves getting on YouTube and posting a video because they're embarrassed. So they look at it and they make fun of you instead of applauding you. But you just have to do your thing, be consistent. Don't worry about what they think. Your success will speak for itself. The way that you act, the way you carry yourself, your character, your grit, your grind. You know, life's hard. It gets hard. No one ever said it was easy. Things come about. I mean, you deal with stuff every day. How are you going to rise above it? How are you going to choose to make your life the best that it can be? How are you going to give 120% every day? Because you don't know what tomorrow brings. Tomorrow's never promised. It says in the Bible, tomorrow's never promised. You don't even know what's going on next hour. So why are you planning for 10 years ahead when you don't even know what tomorrow brings? Be the best you can today. Decide to love on people today. Forgive today. Someone could pass away in 5 minutes and you are stuck being mad at them because of something. These are things that happened to me, and it stemmed from me going through a really hard time at a young age with an ACL injury. God used it to turn it around to fix my mindset. It had nothing to do with the injury. It could have been a back injury. It could have been that I did drugs and I got addicted. It wasn't that for me. It was my ACL. But what's your thing that happened to you that you decided to rise above? What's that thing you struggle with that you're saying, nope, today I'm changing that today. Like today, like there's no other day to do this but today. I'm gonna rise above this. I'm gonna go get a part-time job because I sit at home and I watch video games all day long and I do nothing with my life. Like, I'm gonna put that drink down and I'm gonna be a leader in my friend group. I'm not gonna just do what they say because everybody else does it. Like, I'm gonna go make one more phone call. I'm gonna go help some volunteering thing. I'm gonna go be useful and do something because God gave me hands, He gave me feet, He gave me breath, He gave me gifts, He gave me a voice. What gifts do you have that you're not using? Because we all have them. So I just kind of want to end it with that. I really hope that this encouraged you or helped you. I totally felt like it was meant for someone to hear. If you are feeling this adversity in life and you feel like it's just beating you to the ground, I'm just here to tell you, to remind you to rise above it. You can. Put your mind to it. Ask the Lord for help, because I can't do anything without Him. I would never be sitting here and speaking to you without my God. And so I'm just here to tell you that Jesus Christ is the reason that I can even sit here and speak on this. But You have to decide too. We have to meet him halfway. It says, ask and you shall receive. Ask him for wisdom. Ask him for help. Ask him to give you peace. Ask him to give you joy. Ask him for clarity. Ask him. Just ask him. And he'll give it to you. You'll receive it today. Don't do it tomorrow. Do it today. Take a hold of your life today, because tomorrow's never promised. So I hope you enjoyed this video. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I just hope that you guys get it right. Get your life in your hands today. Make sure you do it. It's so important to be grateful for. And you're capable of doing everything that you want. Stop going on social media and looking at them and, oh, I wish I had their life, watching the Grammy Awards. Put it to pen and paper and say, I can do it. Map it out. Do it, because you can. So I hope that this just helped you, and I'm praying for you guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.